relationship is what it is. Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. So I feel like I haven't recorded it in a long time. I wanted to go ahead and continue my series of the Toads before the Prince. So where I left off was Toad number 2. After him, I moved back to California. I didn't have any friends in the city that I worked in, and I was just working all the time, and I just felt very lonely. So the job that I was actually working at, I had transferred from Texas to the California location. And it was my last day at that specific office because I ended up finding a better job, and that's where I'm at right now. And so on my last day, side note, my mom worked with me. And so on my last day at that job, my mom was telling everybody, oh, it's her last day, it's her last day. And for some reason, all the guys just wanted to hit on Danielle that day because I don't know. So I didn't call any of them. But there was one specific person that my mom was like, yeah, like just give him a chance. Like he like seems like a really nice guy, all this stuff. Like, you know, just like you need friends. Like she's like, just be a friend to him and all this stuff. Like she was like really pushing it. And so she was like, yeah, like you don't, you know, just have friends. Like there's nothing wrong with being friends. And so this guy specifically, I don't even know if I should change his name or not. He was a shitty person. But anyways, we'll just call him Javi. So Javi slips me his number, and he was a really cool customer. Like he was a really cool guy. He would always come in with his 2 kids, and he always had a smile on his face, and he had a really good personality. But he was older, and so he gave me his number, and my mom was like, yeah, he seems really nice, blah, blah, blah. There's nothing wrong with having friends. Give him a call. And so she convinced me to call Javi, and so I did. And so right off the bat, I don't know if I called him or I texted him. Oh, I ended up texting him. I wasn't attracted to him or anything like that. That was the only person that I would feel bad if I didn't text him. And so I texted him, and I was like, hey, like it's Danielle, blah, blah, blah. And like we were just talking like friends or whatever, and he seemed really cool. And we had talked maybe for like a week or 2, and it was just like the conversation was just flowing. Like it wasn't anything. He was like 10 years older than me as well, so I didn't think that anything would develop, you know what I mean? Because I wasn't even like attracted to him or anything like that, and he was much older than me, and my mom was right. There was nothing wrong with, you know, being friends. And so he ended up asking me on a date, and we went to the movies. Like when I showed up and like I saw him, I'm like, oh my gosh, this guy is like such an old man. Not saying like if you're in your 30s that you're old, but I just know he was like much older than me. And so yeah, like when I got there, like it was cool and everything like that. He tried holding my hand in the movies, and I'm like, oh no. And so I don't know, it was just kind of weird because like you can kind of tell that he wasn't just taking our talking as like, oh, like a friendship thing. Like he really was interested in me. And after the movie, he tried to kiss me, and I'm like, skirt, like no kisses here, like that's not gonna happen. I don't know, but something weird happened, okay? So we just could, like after the first time we hung out, like we just started talking more and more, and I did start liking him. Like he was a single dad. He had 2 kids, and from what I can tell, he was a good dad. There was no baby mama involved, like so there was no baby mama drama because that bitch left. I don't know. So we're gonna kind of get into the bad. During the first few weeks that we were talking, he ended up moving from one apartment to a house, and that house ended up being super close to my house. I started like kind of helping out over there as well. Like I said, he had 2 kids, so I would like buy groceries and things like that. I mean, we were not living together, but he would be at work. I would take care of his kids. And everything was good until it wasn't. The first thing that was kind of weird was one time when I was leaving his house, like a girl pulled up into the driveway, and we made eye contact, but then she just reversed her car and then she left. And I didn't really think anything too much of it until he told me that that was his ex-girlfriend. And I'm thinking, this is a red flag. Like, how does your ex-girlfriend know where you live when you just moved in during the time frame that me and you were talking? So how would she know where you lived unless you told her where you live because it's a new house? It definitely was the first red flag, and I probably should have seen, or, you know, that something was wrong, but I didn't. And so I kind of just let that go. So after a couple of months of him living in that house, he ended up confessing to me that his financial situation is not what he told me that it was. And, you know, he was just having like a financial hardship, and he was, you know, going to probably have to move back in with his parents, and, you know, while he gets through this, you know, tough time and all this stuff, which was like totally understandable. I'm like, okay, well, I live with my parents, so yeah, do what you gotta do. I'm not here for like your money or anything like that. Like, that doesn't make any sense. But I guess he felt a little bit embarrassed, and so he moved in with his mom, and his parents were really nice to me. His mom was like, you're welcome here whenever you want, because she knew like that I was a good girl, and I would help with the kids, and I would help him and everything like that. At this time frame, like I said, he told me his financial situation was a little bit rocky, and this was like really like weird. So he didn't want to say it, but he kind of said it, like if he can borrow some money for gas. And so I gave him my debit card, because at this point, like, I kind of trusted him, and I was like, yeah, like, go, you know, fill up your tank or whatever. Like, to me, like, if we're gonna be together, then we'll be a team. Like, it's not a big deal. And so I gave him my debit card to go put gas in his car. And I noticed the transaction on my bank was a lot. It was like, usually it takes what, 40, 50 bucks to fill up your tank if you drive a little 4-cylinder car. And the transaction was like for $80, or like, it was for a lot of money. And I'm like, what the hell? And so I kind of like asked him about it, like, why was it like so much, you know? And then this fool had the audacity not just to put gas in his car, but to get cash back. Like, what? Like, what if I didn't even have that kind of money? What if I was just being nice and I was like, oh yeah, I have 50 bucks in there, go put gas. And then like the audacity, like the nerve that you have to take money out of somebody's account like that. Like, I don't care if we're a team or not. Like, me and Hector are married, and I would still never do that to him. And he won't do that to me. Like, what? So that was the second thing that I should have seen, like, okay, this fool has no respect for me. And yeah, but I kind of let that one go. Okay, so fast forward, okay, so I didn't even give dates. Okay, so I met him in the month of like June. Okay, so by this point, I think it was around September when he took the money out of my account, September or October. And so now it's like, I think it was in October, because then something else happened like directly after that. So basically, what had happened was he had got like the iPhone or whatever, like with the little thumbprint, and he's like, oh, like I wasn't even one to go through his phone, but I don't know why he told me what his passcode was to make it seem, oh, I know why he did. He knew that I wouldn't go through his phone, but he gave me his passcode to make it seem as if he wasn't shady, but then I found out that he was shady. So basically what had happened is he was in the shower or something, and then a notification came through his phone, and it was like a failed notification, like, oh, like you were trying to send a message, but it failed. So I opened it. To see that this fool was writing to his ex-girlfriend, the ex-girlfriend that he claimed drove up to the driveway, and all this stuff. Okay, I forgot about this. Okay, so he claimed that there was only one girl. Okay, so he told me, oh, that was my ex-girlfriend. She came, she threw herself on the floor, she was crying for me, all this stuff. I came to find out that that girl that came to the driveway was actually somebody else that we'll get to later. Well, anyways, my leg is itching. Does anybody like have eczema? My leg is always itching, and I think it's eczema. Anyways, so I opened this fool's phone, okay, and I'm scrolling. It's just an empty phone case. Scrolling to all of the messages. So over the last few months that we had been talking, he had been messaging his ex-girlfriend every single day, every day, multiple times a day. And she wasn't even responding to him. he'd be like,
babe, I miss you, I love you.
And all like whatever, just trying to get her back. Please meet me here, please meet me there. The kids are asking about you, all this stuff. And I'm like, what the actual fuck? Okay, so I forgot to mention that he was super insecure. He would always accuse me of doing things, and I'm like, what? Sorry, I'm trying to get comfy. I can't get comfy. My leg is itching. So he was always like accusing me of stuff. He was super insecure, and I'd always be like, no, like I would never do that. All this stuff. Like he was just super, super insecure. And in the back of my head, like, homie, I took psychology. So I would always be like, maybe this is your guilty conscience. Like, why are you accusing me so hard unless you're doing something? And he'd be
like, no, I'm not doing anything. It's just that you're a pretty girl. I'm sure that you get attention.
And all this bullshit, you know? And yeah, so while I'm scrolling through these messages, I'm like, this is why he's insecure, because he's the one who's been doing all the shady shit. So yes, this girl never responded, not even one time. I don't even think she opened the messages, to be completely honest. Like, and I'm telling you, they went months deep. And when he got out of the shower, I was like, what the hell is this? And you know what he had the nerve to tell me?
Well, it's not like I even saw her. It's not like she even responded.
But I'm like, had she responded, then what? What would have happened? What about my feelings? What about me? You know, like what kind of excuse is that? Like, oh, well, I was gonna cheat, but she didn't let it happen. No, that is not okay. That is unacceptable. And so I ended up leaving his house, and like a dumbass that I was, I gave him another chance. I don't know why I gave him another chance, but I gave him another chance. So I ended up going out of town or something. I don't know what. I went somewhere, and so like we had like a little break from each other. And when I came back, it was around Halloween time, and I don't know why I gave him another chance. He was a manipulative piece of shit, and I let him talk his way back into my life. And so on Halloween, we ended up going trick-or-treating with his kids and everything like that. And then I don't know how it slipped out, or I don't know exactly what happened, but it came up. Oh, I know what it was. Because, you know, I told you there was no baby mama drama because the baby mama left. And so her stepdad was, it's gonna be complicated. Baby mama had like 4 kids from 3 different baby daddies. And so the first baby daddy was not involved with the first kid that was born. And then she kind of left Javi with the first kid that was not his, and then they had their 2. And so he couldn't afford to take care of the first kid. And so her stepdad took care of the first kid, but obviously they're siblings, you know? All the kids are siblings. You get it? Got it? Okay, good. And so the stepdad was there while we were all trick-or-treating, and I think he let it slip how Javi had met up with baby mama earlier in the day. And I was like, wait, what? I thought baby mama wasn't involved. Like, what? And so I was really caught off guard. And so he's like, yeah, like she had messaged me, like saying that she wants to see the kid, but like I don't trust her and all this stuff. But it's like, if you're in a relationship with somebody and something like that is going on, like, wouldn't you think that you would like tell me like, oh shit, like my kid's baby mama, who I haven't heard from in 5 years, messaged me, and I'm gonna go meet up with her to talk about the kids. Like, so I just thought that was really weird, and it really rubbed me the wrong way. Like, I understand that you guys have kids together, but again, you're in a relationship. Like, if the tables were in reverse and I was in his situation, like I would definitely be open about that if I had nothing to hide. So I thought that was weird too. And so from that, we kind of started like having like ugly fights. Obviously, I didn't trust him. He didn't trust me because he was insecure. And so we were just kind of like fighting a lot. And so it's not like this relationship, like it went from like bad to worse. It was not like all happy-go-lucky for very long. Like it was happy-go-lucky just like really quick, and then his true colors came out. So after I found out about the whole baby mama thing, I remember wanting to leave. Like I remember sticking around for the whole trick-or-treating thing, and then we took the kids home, and then we went to like the store, we went somewhere, and I was like, I was still really bothered about it. And I don't know, we ended up getting into this big argument, and I don't know, he was just being really ugly towards me. So when he got to a stop sign, like I literally let myself out of the car. I'm like, because we were by his house already. I let myself out of the car and I'm like, I'm going to go get my stuff and I'm leaving home. And he was like shouting at me at the top of his lungs. He was calling me every name in the book, but it's just like shady. Like, why would I not leave? I don't know. And so I remember going to work and telling my coworker, because at this time we were kind of, you know, I would tell her everything. And she's like, dude, like, that's not normal. Like, he shouldn't be talking to you that way. He shouldn't be shouting at you that way. She's like, that's just not healthy. Like, she's like, especially like he's how many years older than you? Like, you would think that he would be more mature. And so like that, I remember just like fighting constantly. Another thing that had happened during our relationship is what it is, was that there was another message in his phone. He had opened his phone in front of me, like to his messages for something, forgetting that he was messaging that girl. And I was like, I said, who's that girl? And right away he slid his finger and deleted the message, but not knowing that he didn't delete it. Back in the day, I don't know if Facebook still does this on the app. If you go to delete a message, before it would say archive. It didn't say delete. So basically it would move to another file folder, which I knew, like, because I knew Facebook, you know what I mean? And so I saw that it said archive. And so I was like, log into the internet right now. Like, log into your Facebook from the internet. And he did it all cool and slick, thinking that the message was going to be gone. Like, oh, I don't have anything to hide. This fool, again, gets caught messaging another girl. Except this time, this girl's messaging back. And she's sending him, like, pictures, like, inappropriate pictures and shit. And I'm like, are you kidding me? Like, and this time, it was actually, when this had happened, he worked down the street from me, okay? So he was like on a break, or I was on a break. So I literally had to go back to work after seeing this freaking message, okay? And so she's like sending him like some nasty ass pictures. And I'm like, are you fucking kidding me? Like, again, another girl. And so he lies and was like, oh no, that's my friend, blah, blah, blah. Like, she's nothing. I'm like, who sends pictures like that to their friends? Like, that doesn't even make any sense. Like, you send pictures like that, and he's like, oh, like, she's engaged, blah, blah, blah. She's my friend, all this stuff, right? Oh, I forgot to mention that other girl that he was, like, freaking stalking practically was married. He was the Sancho for 6 years. Really? Okay, that's another side story. So, yes, this girl, she was a little hood rat girl sending him all these inappropriate pictures. Well, he had the audacity to give her my phone number, and this bitch called me that day when I got out of work. I was like, oh yeah, like, he's having me call you just to let you know, like, we're just friends. I've known him for a long time, right? So she's pulling this like, oh, we're just friends, all this stuff, blah, blah, blah. I didn't know that he was in a relationship when I sent that picture, but he made it very clear, blah, 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 but we're just friends, all this stuff. I don't even know what she was saying. And then I'm like, you know what? I don't really want to hear it. I said, because from what I hear, he told me this, whatever about you. And then when she heard that he was talking shit about her, then all of a sudden her story changes and we're like, you know what? No, we're not just friends. We actually have been talking. He's been talking to me behind your back, and I knew about it too. So if I were you, I'd be careful with him. She's like, he's not a good guy and blah, blah, blah. She's like, I'm sure that you've heard about, because when he was talking to me, he was talking to her and all this stuff. But I'm like, bitch, why are all you guys talking to him if both of you are married or engaged or in relationships? Like, that just boggles my mind. If you're with somebody, then you be with that one person. Jesus Christ. Anyway, so like I said, when she found out he was talking shit about her, then all of a sudden her whole story changed about him. And honestly, at that point, I'm like, you would think that I would leave. And I was like, fuck, I don't know. Like, I told him, like, dude, like, you're not a good person. Like, all this stuff. Like, she told me the truth about you and everything like that. And you would think Danielle would be done at this point. But I wasn't. From this point on, the relationship just kept getting worse and worse. And it was so unhealthy. It was to the point where I was like legit afraid of him. Like, the way that he would yell at me, the things that he would say, I was scared that he was gonna beat my ass. Like, I'm not even playing. Like, I was really afraid of him. I remember one time he was trying to argue about something in front of his kids. We were leaving the store And I don't know what he was trying, like he was just trying to put me down or belittle me. So I ended up putting in my headphones because I'm like, you know what? This is not the time or place. Your kids are in the back seat. I don't even know why you want to fight, but you know, like this is not the time or place. Like we'll talk about it when we get home. And he just wanted to fight. He just kept on. So I ended up putting my headphones in. And he ended up like ripping out my headphones, like, and just like kind of like pulling it, like where like it pulled out of my phone. But like that shit hurts. Has anybody ever ripped out your headphones? Like, and I just remember being like, oh my gosh, like just stay quiet. Like I'm like, to me, I was telling myself, Danielle, just stay quiet. Don't say anything. Don't do anything. Like this fool is gonna hit you. Like that's how angry he like would get, you know? And so I don't know why I stayed. Like I must have had like such low self-esteem. Like I don't understand. Like you would think like, Danielle, like you left this situation in Texas because you weren't happy, because you weren't this, you weren't that. Like that would have been the perfect opportunity for me just to focus on myself, and I wasn't. And I got myself into this shitty situation. And like I said, it got worse and worse. He was like he was such a liar. I remember one time some girl added him on Instagram, and I'm like, who is this girl? You know, and he's like, oh, that's my cousin's friend and all this stuff, and I know her and all this stuff. Come to find out, like, no, that bitch wasn't your cousin's friend. She ended up writing to me and was like, are you and Javi together? Because I'm sleeping with him. Like, I don't know where he finds these hood rats at that just want to sleep with him. But she's like, yeah, basically that they've been hooking up and all this stuff. And he told her that he wasn't with me and all this stuff. And I'm like, are you effing kidding me? And then that same night, like, I'm calling him and I'm like, are you kidding me? Like, this bitch is telling me all this stuff, blah, blah, blah. He's like, no, like, that's not true. He's like, you know what? I don't even think that's a real page. Somehow he convinced me that it was behind this page and it must be a fake page, but it wasn't. This was just another girl. And so somehow he twisted it to, oh, she's crazy, she's just making stuff up. And he's like, look, she's messaging me right now. He sent me some screenshots of some Facebook messages where he clearly cut out his part of the conversation. Is this girl was literally messaging like the most inappropriate things. Like I felt so violated. I was like so disgusted. I felt violated. Like, you're gonna let this girl like say those nasty things like about me? Like, ew. And I remember just like, okay, I'm freaking done. Like I am done. You know I wasn't done. Okay, so somehow, I don't know how, I don't know why. I mean, this fool probably had fucking witchcraft spell over me because I gave him another chance. Why? Why did I do that? So, let's keep going through this train wreck of a relationship. And so, like I said, he started turning a little bit crazy. He started like turning really aggressive, things like that. And I was like, something's off, like with him. Like I seriously felt like he was on drugs. Like legitimately, I'm like, because he had told me that he used to do like coke and stuff. Like he used to think, okay, I feel like I'm a pretty good girl. Like I don't do anything crazy. Like I'm like a homebody. Like I don't do crazy things. So he was always trying to impress me like with this like bad boy image, but really it didn't impress me. It was kind of like, ew, why would you do those kind of things? Like it was just kind of like over the top. And so I kind of felt like, wow, this guy's probably back on drugs. Like his behavior is so erratic. And there was all these little clues and little signs, which I'll circle back to afterward. And so I remember one night I got to his house or to his parents' house, and it was just, his parents went away for the weekend, so it was just him and his kids. And so apparently he had pulled up right before I did, and I wasn't really aware of whatever. And so I go in the house, and I notice there's no bed sheets on his bed, so I just sit on the floor and I start watching YouTube. And so like I'm like literally even sitting in the dark, like no big deal, whatever. And I'm waiting for him to come inside because he's talking to somebody outside. And so when he comes in, he's like right away like all attitude and stuff, and I'm like, why do you why are you in such a bad mood? And like I don't know, he snaps at me, and like to me, I was not in the mood to handle his attitude. So I was like, Javi, do you really want to start this today? Because I was just not, like, I wasn't in the mood to fight. Like, homie, I just got here, like, let's have a good, weekend or whatever. And he snapped at me. He was like, oh, like you, whatever. Like he was saying, you fucking little girl. A real woman would have come in here and put sheets on the bed. A real woman would fucking cook and all this stuff. And I'm sorry. I don't mean to be like mean or rude or anything, but you're not my husband. This is not my house. And those are not my kids. Yet I come here all the time. I do help you out with them. I do take care of them. I do buy groceries. But it's not my responsibility to do that. I'm sorry. I'm not a mother and I'm not your wife. And I remember him just flipping out. And I'm like, I'm not doing this. So I had went there with 2 bags. One of them had my clothes and the other one had my laptop. So I pick up both bags. I have both bags on my shoulders and he doesn't let me leave. He gets in front of me and he throws one of the bags off of my shoulders. And I was like, just let me leave. And like, he's standing in the doorway. Like, he's not going to let me leave. And I'm like, Javi, like, I want to leave. Like, just let me go. And I don't know what happens. Like, I tried to like, you know, like move him out of the doorway. But like, I wasn't like, I'm small, okay? There's no way that I'm gonna hurt him, but like I did like try like putting like my arm to like kind of get through, and he threw the other bag off my shoulder and starts stomping on the bag, like stomping on the bag. And that bag was my brand new laptop, and he crushed the shit out of it. When I saw him destroy my stuff, oh, I saw red. Yes, the crazy did come out of me. And I was like, get the fuck off. Like, you're breaking my laptop. So I tried pushing him. And that moment that he feels me push him, I think he realized, oh, like that I just like put my hands on him to like get him off. He like he's like stomping like this. He looks up and he pushes me to the point where I hit the TV. And I'm like, oh, hell no. Not only does he do that, like at this point, like I'm like trying to like get him off, like I'm like doing this, like get off of my shit, like you're breaking it, you know. And he swings right back at me to my face. He ended up busting my lip, and not only that, he wouldn't let me leave. And I'm crying at this point, and I'm like, just stop. I'm like, let me get my stuff, like I'll leave, like just let me get my stuff. Like I'm like, please get out of the room, please get out. Mind you, while all of this is happening, his kids are in the other room listening to everything. So I'm crying my eyes out. Like, please just let me leave. Just let me leave. And he walks out of the room. So I'm thinking that he's giving me my space. And I'm picking, like, at this point, he threw, like, my clothes everywhere, my makeup everywhere, my laptop is crushed. Like, all my shit is everywhere. And I'm like crying, so like I'm trying to see through my tears to pick up all my stuff. I see that he walks out, so I lock the door to get all my stuff together because I thought he left because I was asking him please to leave me. And he kicked that door in. He's like, open this fucking door, and he kicks it in. And I'm terrified. I go and hide in the freaking closet. I'm so scared at this point. And I was like, I was just trying to get my stuff. I thought you left so I could get my stuff. And I don't know, he's just talking to me so ugly, like something freaking snapped in him, you know, like it was just, he was not the same person. Like he was already a shitty person, but this is like way like different. And so I finally get all my stuff. I'm like, please just let me leave, let me leave. So I throw all my stuff in the car. He like lets me go out the front door, and I don't even know what he's yelling at me, honestly. I think at this point he's like, oh shit, like I'm sorry. And he's like, this is not healthy. Like we can't continue this. I'm like, you think? And so I get into the car and he's like trying to talk to me. I'm like, it's fine. I gain my composure. I'm like, it's fine. I'm okay. I'm fine. Just let me go. His house had one of those little clicky things that you needed to open the gate, and he had already like taken my little gate opener away from me. And so I was like, just let me leave, please, just let me leave. And he's trying to talk. I'm like, no, it's fine. I'm fine. And he's like, you're gonna like get in an accident. You can't leave. Like he didn't want me to leave. And I'm like, no, it's fine. Just let me leave. And he's not letting me go. So I scream at the top of my lungs, like as if I was dying. I was screaming like as if somebody's being murdered. And I was like, let me leave, like loud though. And his neighbors are outside. And so he gets scared and he slams my door like harder than I've ever had my door slammed. And he kicks my car. And so he ends up opening the gate for me to leave. He's like,
fucking leave and don't come back, you stupid bitch.
All of this like ugly, ugly, ugly stuff. And so I'm like driving and I'm crying. I'm like trying to call my dad. I don't even know who to call. So he's like, well, like, why don't you call the cops? Basically call the cops on him. And he's like, I knew that guy wasn't a good guy. Like, when I got home, I called the cops, and so they came, they took my statement, everything like that. They took pictures. And so we go to the side of my car, and this is where I realized he actually kicked in my car. It looked like I got in a car accident. Like, he kicked in my car. It had the biggest dent that I've ever seen in my life. I'm like, wow, are you kidding me? And they asked me if I'm gonna press charges. And like the dumbass that I am, I said no. I didn't press charges because he begged me not to. And we made an agreement that he was gonna pay me back for the damages. You think that ever happened? No. You would think, okay, Danielle, you got punched in the mouth, you got lied to, you got cheated on, your car got kicked in, you're done now, right? Like, you've had enough. No, clearly I didn't have enough. And so we end up getting back together. Like, why? Like, why did anybody let me talk to this person? Like, why? And so we ended up getting back together. And honestly, I don't even remember what the final last straw was. I think what had happened was I was so tired of like the way that he was talking to me, and his behavior was very erratic, and I was very scared. And it was him just being shady all the time. I think like I had enough of him just being shady that I was like, this is done. Like, this is over. Like, I can't continue this way. And his behavior started being really weird. I remember one time he like FaceTimed me and he's like, no, I need you. And I'm like, no, like, something's wrong with you. Like, I was telling him, like, leave me alone. Like, like, I don't want anything to do with you. Like, you're not a good person. And I remember him flashing something really quick, and it was like a pipe, but it wasn't like a marijuana pipe. Okay. Like, no, it wasn't. It looked, I feel like I've seen enough like cop episodes to know that that was a crack pipe. Okay. And I remember like him like threatening to kill himself and all that. And so I called his sister to let her know about his erratic behavior. And so she told me again, call the cops. Like, his own sister would be like, put a restraining order on him, call the cops, all of this stuff. And oh, I remember, backtrack, rewind, when I had broken up with him before the crack pipe thing, I broke up with him, and I remember going to my coworker's house. Like I said, we used to be really close. And so he messaged me, where are you at? And I'm like, I'm at my coworker's house. I'm not going to say her name just for her privacy, whatever. It's not like people follow me, but just in case. And so I'm like, I'm at my coworker's house. And so he's like, I don't know. He sent me a freaking picture, a selfie in my house, in my bedroom. And I'm like, are you fucking kidding me? I was like, you need to leave now. I texted my sister. I was like, Javi is in my bedroom. My bedroom was outside. It's not like inside the house. It's in the garage. Like, there's this, a side entrance. So I would always go in through the side. So this fool let himself in my house when nobody was home except for my sister. My sister's like, dude, that's scary. Like, that's so scary. So this guy, he was really off his rocker. So when his sister, fast forward, crack pipe, everything like that, his sister told me to call the cops. We tried setting him up to where the cops would like, stop him. But he had like a suspicion that something was going on. And so where I told him to meet me at, he kind of drove past first and saw the cops there. So he never stopped. And I don't know, it was just a really, really shitty, scary situation. Looking back on it, yeah, there was many signs that, because I did end up finding out, later on down the road that he was on drugs. After I broke up with him, like, he was just weird. He was sending me weird shit. He was harassing me at work. Oh, that's a big part of the story. He started stalking me at work, started harassing me at work, started calling my work, hanging up, hanging up, showing up. Just like, he was fucking scary to the point where I did have to put a restraining order on him because he was just off his rocker. But yeah, that's the guy that I was with before I met Hector. So after that, you best believe that I started focusing on myself. I was like, dear Jesus, what do I gotta do? And honestly, I felt like it was a sign of God. Like, leave these little boys alone, focus on yourself, and I will place a man in your life when the time is right. But yeah, thank you guys for watching. I will see you guys in my next video. Bye.